Hello everybody, I'm Roxy and this is Wreck Me BS. I am very excited to share my last book haul of the year. It's the non-fiction book haul, continuation of the past book haul for fiction of books I picked up at a very amazing book sale. They are all secondhand, but they're all in great condition and I'm so excited. So let's dive right into it. First, I have two journals called Profession by the MLA Association, which is a Modern Language of America Association. I think that's the acronym. I always say just MLA. As a part English major, I cite all my literature papers in MLA, so I'm very sick of it. But these journals have very relevant essays on the craft, and not just like literature, but also like teaching and like English and education in general. So it's a lot of different things. Some essays are more practically oriented, some of them are more theoretical, or some of them are just more philosophical. So I'm very interested in all of these. They are kind of old, so 2001 and 2003. But I still think they are very relevant. I looked through them while I was there and decided they were worthwhile. So I'll probably pick them up this summer or March at most. Then I have, oh, this is great, this almost brand new copy of the Cache Nexus by Niall Ferguson. So I'm obsessed with Niall Ferguson, which is funny because I have not finished any of his books for a variety of reasons. But I think 2020 will be the year that I read all these Niall Ferguson books that I have been hoarding. Let me know in the comments if you also do this. Like, you find an author that you've read a bit of and you think you will love, so you just hoard their books. I do that with Niall Ferguson. Anyways, I was scared to buy this because I remembered buying something about money, a book by him about money, when I was in Ireland, but I was so sure it was not this. I forgot the name of it, but I knew it wasn't this. And it's not, because that book is A Financial History of the World. And this one is Money and Power in the Modern World, but from the 1700s to the 2000s. So it's a very interesting look at money. It's sort of a sequel to that other one, although I think this was written first, but it's still, the point is that how money is tied to power and especially to war, as I understand it. So I'm very interested in also reading this, but I might pick up the other first. Then I have some really good food writing. So Alice Waters and Chez Panisse. So this is not food writing per se, it's a biography of Alice Waters and the creation of the American French-inspired cafe Chez Panisse. And I've been on a kick of food writing or food related memoirs lately. I'm reading Kitchen Confidential right now and really enjoying it. I bought the 2019 Best American Food Writing and I'm checking out more memoirs. I want to reread Cordork. So, you know, a whole thing in my mind happening with food right now. This sounds fascinating. The subtitle already says the romantic, impractical, often eccentric, ultimately brilliant making of a food revolution. So how can I not want to read that? And especially on the back it says, in 1971, it was nearly impossible to find a cappuccino or a croissant in this country, meaning America, and goat cheese and mesclun were virtually unheard of. And that's mind-boggling. I'm in for the ride. Then I have modern essays in English. I'm so angry because this didn't come with it, and because of the way a very nice old man who wanted to help me put my books in my bag, but he just sort of threw them and this happened, and I was kind of upset when I noticed. But you know what? Anyways, this is a really good selection of great essays in English. It has some heavy hitters like George Orwell, Ian Forster, Catherine Ann Porter, Francis Bacon, Jonathan Swift, so E.B. White. So, you know, like, great selection. Also some authors that I hadn't heard of, so I'm very excited. There are some that I have read from here, including Jonathan Swift, and what I liked is that the person here like selected the ones they had read, and so like marked some that apparently were really good with a tick, and then wrote across, presumably next to the ones they didn't like, and they didn't like a modest proposal. That makes me upset. That is a freaking great essay. But anyways, I also have, more food cooking. So Julie and Julia by Julie Powell. This is a tying movie cover. I don't usually go for this, but I adore that movie. It's just such a comfort movie, and when I have to write really long essays or like do a lot of work at night for college, I usually put on either like really trashy or like Discovery Home and Health type reality shows, or like comfort movies such as this one, and I just adore it. So I want to check out the book. What is fun though is that I had downloaded the book recently, like 2 days prior going to this book fair, because I wanted to read so much, and I found it there for like virtually nothing. I was so happy, and again, I don't usually enjoy tying covers, but I love this one, so I'm very happy. I'm going to probably read it really, really soon. I also have Longitude, the true story of a lone genius who solved the greatest scientific problem of his time, by Dava Sobel, author of Galileo's Daughter, which I have not read, but this is a very short book about John Harrison, who I believe from the back that he solved how to accurately map distances on Earth, which is fascinating because I had never really thought about it. You'd think that it is easier to measure the Earth than like the skies, but according to the back of this, apparently by the time John Harrison started his work, Galileo and Isaac Newton had already like worked so much in like the cosmos and had made such great breakthroughs, but we still weren't able to accurately measure distance, like big distances, and on our planet, which is, it's just mind-boggling, but it also kind of makes sense when you think about it, which I hadn't. So I'm very excited to learn. I love these biographies that take on also like very specific subjects, and you end up learning about the person, the period, and the subject. So amazing. I also have Founding Mothers by Cookie Roberts. The Woman Who Raised Our Nation is the subtitle, and it is what it says on the tin. It's basically an exploration of how women such as the Schuyler sisters or Martha Washington influenced the revolution and what sort of they brought to it. I am not American, so I don't know that much about the American Revolution, although I think I do know like way too much for someone who's not American. But you know, it is what it is. I'm interested in this, and as I said, I enjoy seeing history from female perspective and what the life of these women was like. Then I have this very interestingly titled book, and it's not in the greatest condition, but I still went for it because it sounded interesting. How the Scots Invented the Modern World. The true story of how Western Europe's poorest nation created our world and everything in it, by Arthur Herman. Now, there are a lot of books claiming so or so civilization created the world, and it's not true. We know this. However, these books, ambitious as their titles are, often do reveal great connections that I wasn't aware of. Also teach you a lot of history and philosophy, and I'm just very interested, especially because a lot of the breakthroughs are intellectual. So I'm very interested in like filling the gaps because I don't know a lot about the Scots. So I think it's still interesting, although the title is hilarious to me, because it's just not true, but you know. Then I have some good old travel writing. So I have Nothing to Declare, Memoirs of a Woman Traveling Alone by Mary Morris. This is one of like the great pieces of female travel writing. It's like almost a classic, if not a classic already. I'm very interested in reading this. Travel writing has also been like a big thing for me this year, and I'm very excited. Then I have the best of Granta Travel. Sadly, this is not like in the greatest condition, but it's still great. It has a lot of heavy hitters such as Bill Bryson, Martha Gellhorn, Amitav Ghosh, Salman Rushdie, Nicholas Shakespeare, Graham Swift, Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So a lot of well-known names in the travel writing genre. And I'm very excited for this because I love Granta publications, I love travel writing, and I love a lot of these authors. So I'm very interested in reading that. Then I have Ghosts of Spain, Travels Through a Country's Hidden Past by Gilles Tremblay, or maybe that they are not French. Anyways, this is traveling through Spain. I didn't used to be very interested in Spain, quite honestly. And then in the last few years, an interest to go there, visit, and travel through Spain has surfaced. I don't know out of where, but I become like interested in it. And yeah, supposedly this is a great book for that. What I like and I'm very interested in is that according to the back, this is not only the travels of the author, but also history of Spain. So delving more into that, which I think great travel writing, it's not just the experience of the author. It also connects it to wider narratives. And I think this does that. Hopefully. It's also published by Faber, and I don't know if you do this, but there are some imprints that even if there have been some misses, I still like trust greatly. So let's hope this is a great book. Kind of related, I have Asking for Trouble, the autobiography of a banned journalist by Donald Woods. I didn't know of this. I was not aware of it before I saw it, but it is what it says. And what is very interesting is that he was the editor of the Daily Dispatch. He was banned. He was like asked to leave, I think, the country because he was so controversial and like so incisive. And also his investigative journalism apparently was like too on point, and people in power did not like that. So he went to Africa and continued to research political issues there. That's as far as I've gathered from reading this, but do not quote me on that because I didn't know of his existence before. Then I have something that I might pick up for Christmas because it's like such a cute little book, and it's called Dewey, The Small Town Library Cat Who Touched the World by Vicky Myron. Yeah, what can I say? I also do enjoy a comfort read now and again. At first, like, I didn't know if this was like fiction or non-fiction, and quite honestly, I'm still not sure. If it is non-fiction, it's one of those non-fiction that does a lot of dialogue, which I'm not crazy about. But in this case, because it's about a cat at a small town library that became famous, like, how can you not want to read that? I'm sorry, it's just, I'm a softie. Also, I love cats, and the problem is that I can't own a cat right now because, well, I travel a lot, but also because my roommate is allergic. So, like, I love cats. I also love dogs. I love pets in general, I think. That's neither here nor there. Let's continue. So, a Nietzsche reader, Penguin Classics edition. I just love these old Penguin Classics editions. I think it's slim though for like a Nietzsche reader. But I've read some Nietzsche for literary theory class. I've read from Thus Spoke Zarathustra and The Birth of Tragedy, and I own The Birth of Tragedy. He's not an easy author, but he's interesting in spite of a lot of things. He's an interesting philosopher. I think we should all read it, at least to like converse about it. And I just was curious, and I think it's a good selection. I enjoy picking up these sort of readers or compilations because I think they help you get a big picture, and then if you are really interested in a subject, you can like go in deeper with better or like more specific books. Then I have a very random pick, Hooked, Pirates, Poaching, and the Perfect Fish by Bruce Knecht. So this is about poaching and contemporary high-stakes piracy. It's a topic I didn't know I would be interested in, but it's a topic I know nothing about, and I think it's like such an important topic because it kind of affects economy, it affects the environment, it affects a lot of things that seem like might not be related to our daily lives, but they are. So I just want to learn a bit about this. So hopefully this will be a good entryway. Maybe I'll become an expert on this topic. Who knows? Then I have Home to Roost and Other Peckings by Deborah Devonshire. And so I didn't know about Deborah Devonshire before this. I actually became curious because I like the cover, but also because it says Introduction by Alan Bennett. And as you might know, I adore Alan Bennett after I read The Uncommon Reader, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I still can't stop thinking about it. I read it last year. It was so great. Anyways, apparently she was one of the Midford sisters, and she wrote very incisively about her life and about those around her. And this is like a compilation of like funny letters and speeches. And so I'm very curious. If I like this very slim book, I might pick up more by her. There's a list of other things she's written. So like The House, a portrait of Chatsworth. The Estate, a view from Chatsworth. Farm Animals, treasures of Chatsworth. Counting My Chickens and Other Home Thoughts. So she was quite a big memoirist, and I don't usually go for that, but there was something that called me to this. Probably Alan Bennett's, in much of the same way that I discovered Alan Bennett in the first place. So I have faith. Then I have this very hefty biography of Mao, The Unknown Story, by Jung Chang and John Halliday. Here's the thing. This is not the latest Mao biography, because there was one that was shortlisted for a NonFiction prize recently, and it's supposed to be amazing, but this was really cheap. And supposedly before that one came out, this one was like the more authoritative one. And I don't think I need two Mao biographies. I think this one will serve me just right. If I feel like this one cut it, or like I don't enjoy this, I might pick up the other, but you know, the history of China is something I don't know a lot about and I want to learn more of, but there's so much time that I can devote to a topic that's not like my main area of interest. But I do think one biography is fine. And I also picked up recently, I don't have it here, but I recently picked up like a revised history of China. And so I might do a non-fiction pairing there and have like a China history month. To become more educated, because right now my China knowledge is more of how did it intersect with Japanese history. So I think I need to learn more about it. And finally, this was one of the greatest discoveries. I was so happy when I saw it, and it's Eleanor and Hick, The Love Affair That Shaped a First Lady. So this is of course about Eleanor Roosevelt and her very close, intimate friend who was a journalist that traveled with her everywhere apparently and wrote her speeches. And I am not sure if at the time it was already rumored that they were together, or like it was not thought of that way. But nowadays, after having read their correspondence and with the framework that lesbians do exist, Steve, apparently they were a couple. I think there is another work like related to this that does not outright claim so. I am not sure what like the general consensus is, but I think it was that they were together, or they were like really close and really connected. So 1 out of 2. Either way, I'm very excited to read this. This has been on my radar for the longest time. I cannot believe I found this, and I'm so excited to get to this. So that was it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe and comment. Have you read any of these books, or do you want to pick up any of them? And also, is there a topic you want to learn more about this year? If so, what is it? And that is it. See you next time, probably next year. Bye.